What's good, people? I'm back, and today I'll be making a tier list of the fighters of undefeated fighters who I think will either lose their undefeated record by the end of this year or will not lose their undefeated record by the end of this year. Let's just get straight into it. I think it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple topic. I don't have to explain it much. And let's first talk about the tiers and the tier list and how it works and all of that. First, what do you have? First, how do you qualify for the tier list? Undefeated means you can have a draw in your record. If you are, let's say, Leron Murphy before he fought Movsar Evloev, 19-0-1, that's technically undefeated, and I will consider that. But there aren't any fighters with that kind of record in the tier list. So now, the second criteria is you have to be currently active in the UFC. Like, I won't be considering Shafkat because he's not active, so it doesn't even matter if he's on the list. The third is, I don't care how this list does not reflect how good that fighter is, because this list is just my prediction for as to whether this fighter will lose by the end of this year or not. Because there's some fighters that are like complete hot garbage that you're like, if you throw them up the rankings, you'll be like, okay, that guy probably loses, right? And but when you consider realistically as to what matchups they're going to get, if they're going to get fed to somebody or stuff like that, you have to consider all of that. It does not reflect how good that fighter is. The fourth is they have to be undefeated all around. It can't just be their UFC record. They have to be in their whole professional career. They have to be undefeated. That's pretty much the criteria, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's explain the tier list. We start with the first tier on the tier list. We have won't lose 100%. This is, I guarantee you this fighter will not lose by the end of the year. I'm placing my prediction that I'm 100% sure this fighter will not lose their undefeated record by the end of the year. Then we have probably won't lose. This is, I can't say, stuff might happen. There's still 6 months left in the year. So maybe some of them get thrown up too far up into the rankings and end up losing. So I would put them in probably won't lose, but I'm pretty sure they aren't going to lose by the end of the year. But I can't necessarily, say. I'm leaning more towards they won't lose, but I can't say I'm 100% sure. Then we have 50-50. The fun thing about this tier is there's only one fighter in 50-50, and I'll explain as to why there's only one fighter in 50-50 while after we get to that one fighter in the 50-50 tier, which is I'm just completely torn on whether you will keep your undefeated record or not keep your undefeated record. It's just a 50-50 thing. I'm not leaning either way. I'm just completely stuck in between. That's what that tier means. Then we have probably will lose, which is exactly like probably won't lose, but the opposite. Where I'm nearly sure that you will lose by the end of this year, but I wouldn't say I'm 100% sure. Then we have will lose 100%, which is also pretty self-explanatory. So let's just get straight into the tier list. Let's start with somebody that most people know is kind of popular and all that stuff. We have Movsar Evloev. I'll be putting Movsar Evloev in probably will lose tier because he is going to fight Volkanovski. By the end of this year, if Volkanovski versus Movsar does not happen, fuck me. But there is a very good chance that Movsar just does not fight Volk by the end of this year, or he might actually end up beating Volk. I wouldn't be 100% sure, but the way things are going, it looks like they're going to fight by the end of this year, and I'm very leaning towards Volk very heavily in that matchup, so I'll be putting Movsar Evloev in probably will lose tier. Next fighter we have on the tier list, we have... Fuck, what am I even saying? I really need to learn how to speak, and you guys can probably tell that I have kind of a stutter and I have trouble pronouncing some words, but yeah. Next fighter we have Luke Riley. Luke Riley, he's an English fighter. He trains with Paddy Pimblett and stuff, but he doesn't have good grappling unlike everyone else. I think he probably won't lose this year because I don't think he's even gonna fight this year. I think at most he'll have one fight and they're probably gonna give him a layup matchup. I just don't think they'll give him like anybody who can exploit his grappling, like his horrible grappling. Bogdan Grad was able to exploit his grappling, but then he got knocked the fuck out in round 2. His grappling is horrible. Let's just say it's pretty non-existent to say the least. But I don't think they'll give him any hard matchups. They'll probably give him a layup next, and I think he probably won't even fight this year. And if he does, they'll probably give him a layup. So yeah, that's why he's in. Probably won't lose, but he could definitely. The next fighter we have on this tier list, we have Dante Johnson. Now I'm putting Dante Johnson in will lose 100% tier. Dante Johnson, he's a semi-decent prospect. He was knocking everybody out in the regional scene. He's like 6-0 or something, 6 or 7-0. Fuck, dude. Where was I? Yeah. He went to a split decision with Cody Brundage. Yeah, I'll just stop you right there, bro. He did not look good against Cody Brundage, dude. He's fighting Eric McConaughey next. He is pretty active, so even if he does beat Eric McConaughey, I think he will have another fight by the end of this year. And I'm saying he will lose his O in either his next fight or the fight after, because Eric McConaughey, he won't have to he won't have the threat of the grappling from Dante Johnson. Now on the feet, Dante Johnson is better, but man, I don't know, dude. Eric McConaughey might be able to like craft up an decision against this guy, and I just think even if he beats Eric McConaughey, he's probably gonna fight later in the year again, and he's probably gonna lose. And he's not really that good. He's a prospect, but he's kind of dog shit. You can't go to a split decision with Cody Brundage, dude. Next fighter we have on the tier list, we have Michelle Montague. If you don't know, she's ranked. She is one of the better bantamweight prospects. Michelle Montague, she's decent. She's pretty good. She's a grappler. She's a very good grappler. She's big and strong. She's pretty much Kayla Harrison 2.0. A bit worse, I would say. I don't think she'll lose this year. Probably not. Maybe if they give her like a crazy step up in competition. At max, I would say she has like one fight left this year. And even if she fights, she's probably not gonna get like a massive step up in competition. So she's probably fine. She didn't look as good as I wanted her to against Mayra Bueno Silva. But you know what? That's fine. I still don't think she loses a road this year at least. Maybe next year or the year after that. But I don't see her losing this year anytime soon. Next fighter we have on the tier list, we have... Fuck, why do I say it like that? Do I really need to work on this shit? Next fighter we have on the tier list, Tommy McMillan. Tommy McMillan is losing this year. I'm putting Tommy McMillan in will lose 100%. Tommy McMillan is an industry plant. He didn't even look that good against Manolo Zucchini or whatever that guy's name was. He's getting absolutely slammed out by Alberto Montez. Alberto Montez will do unspeakable crimes to this guy. Now obviously there is a chance that he can knock him out, but even if he somehow ends up beating Alberto Montez, which the chances of that are very, very slim. Slimmer than me, and I'm like 80 pounds. Even if that happens, he's probably going to get slammed out by somebody. Considering they're giving him Alberto Montez in his second UFC fight, they're probably gonna give him an even bigger step up if he beats Montez. So he's probably gonna lose by the end of this year. I'm pretty confident in that. I would say he will lose 100%. Next fighter on the tier list. Now this is the reason the 50-50 tier exists for only one fighter. It's Michael Morales. Now Michael Morales, the reason he has his own tier is because it's kind of hard to explain. Now there's a lot of possibilities that can happen. There's two possibilities. One, he ends up fighting Carlos Prates, or he doesn't fight Carlos Prates. Now Ian Gary is obviously fighting Islam Makhachev. There is a chance that Michael Morales, after if Islam beats Ian Gary, or whoever wins that fight, Michael Morales fights that guy, the winner of that fight for the title. There's a chance if that happens, if Islam wins, he's going to win, more than likely. If Ian Gary wins, then I don't favor his chances as much. Or the second option, he waits, no fight happens, or there's a third option that he ends up fighting Carlos Prates. Now if he fights Carlos Prates, that's a very 50-50 fight as well. because Carlos Prates, he could knock him out on the feet. Carlos Prates is way, way better on the feet, and both of these guys have knockout power. But Carlos Prates, skill wise, is just way better on the feet. But Michael Morales does have some pretty solid grappling too, and JDM was taking down Carlos Prates pretty decently early on, pretty consistently early on. And Carlos Prates' grappling is his weakness. So that's a 50-50 fight. So there's so many possibilities, there's so many 50-50 fights, there's so much that could happen. I'm just not confident in saying either one because there's so many possibilities, because there's no way by the end of this year Michael Morales doesn't fight. Right? And if he does fight, the CP fight is 50-50. We don't know if he'll fight for the title, if he'll fight Carlos Prates. Because if Ian Gary wins, they will try to make Carlos Prates versus Ian Gary too. But if that fight happens, then Michael Morales will probably fight like Gabriel Bonfim. And Michael Morales probably wins that. But we can't. The matchmaking of the welterweight division is kind of hard, so I can't really imagine who is going to fight next. I can't really visualize what's going to happen next, and because of so many possibilities, I'll be putting him in the 50-50 tier. Because I really can't tell what's going to happen with this guy. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Murtazali Magomedov. Mutilated Magomedov, that's what we are going to call him. Mutilated Magomedov, he just pulled off a crazy twister. He's like 11-0. He has a crazy record. He has a lot of finishes. He's probably going to be he's going to fight Cans, let's be honest. There's like 6 months left in this year. He's probably going to fight once or at max twice more this year, because he's unranked and stuff. So, but he's probably going to fight Cans, and they're probably going to give him favorable matchups. So I don't think he'll get any hard matchups, and he is pretty good actually. He has a lot of finishes. He is very good. He pulled off a crazy twister, it's called a Scottish twister. It's like a modified twister. He is really good, and I think they're not gonna give him a crazy step up either. So I think it's fair to put him in 100% won't lose tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Jacoby Smith. I'm going to put Jacoby Smith in probably won't lose. Now that his fight with Kevin Holland is 50-50. But here's the thing. If his fight with Kevin Holland is 50-50, he should be in the 50-50 tier. But the reason he's not in the 50-50 tier is if he ends up beating Kevin Holland, there's no way he loses by the end of this year, because they're not going to give him a crazy step up in competition after he beats Kevin Holland. And if he beats Kevin Holland, he gets a step up in competition, he's more than likely going to beat that guy. So I think it's fair to put Jacoby Smith in the probably won't lose tier. He's undefeated. He has a couple of good finishes. I'm really impressed. I didn't really like his performance against Nico Price, but I think he'll beat Kevin Holland, and if he beats Kevin Holland, I don't think he's losing anytime soon by the end of this year, unless they give him a crazy mismatch. So yeah, I'll put Jacoby Smith in probably won't lose tier. Then we have Ivo Baranowski. I'm putting Ivo Baranowski in probably won't lose tier as well. Now I want to see Ivo Baranowski fight Rakhman Yakiaev, which that fight should happen. But knowing the UFC and knowing how their matchmaking works, they're probably gonna feed him to more cans, and I don't think he's going to lose by the end of this year. But you can't really be sure about it, because he's kind of in a weird situation. Maybe they give him somebody ranked or something. They lose their minds and they give him somebody ranked instead of feeding him to cans. Instead feeding him cans. So I'm going to put Ivo Baranowski in probably won't lose tier, but I wouldn't put money on it pretty much. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Bia Mosqueda. I'm putting Bia Mosqueda in the probably will lose tier. Now hear me out. Bia Mosqueda, she's looked pretty decent, but in her last fight we saw holes in her striking. Melissa Mullins is not that good. She pretty much got knocked down by Melissa Mullins. She got rocked pretty badly by Melissa Mullins. She was nearly out. If Melissa Mullins just stood her back up or followed up with some good ground and pound, she could have won that fight. And Bia Mosqueda, she's probably going to get a step up in competition. And at the higher levels, I understand she has good wrestling, but on the feet, that shit is just different. If Melissa Mullins is doing that to you, somebody with decent takedown defense probably beats you on the feet. Probably beats you by a striking decision. So I think Bia Mosqueda probably will lose this tier, But once again, I'm not too sure about it. But if I had to say, I wouldn't say it's 50-50. I'm more so leaning towards probably will lose. Uh, Next fighter on the tier list, we have Mario Pinto. Mario Pinto again, I'm putting him in the probably won't lose tier. They're probably gonna feed him some cans. Probably gonna feed him some random bums on at heavyweight. They're probably gonna give him favorable matchups. And Mario Pinto is actually really good. So even if he doesn't get like a favorable matchup or something, he probably wins that too. So I'm gonna put him in probably won't lose tier. He's probably going to fight once more this year. So yeah, I don't think he'll lose this year. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you know anything about Mario Pinto and what he does, and anything about Mario Pinto and his career, you'd know why that makes sense. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Ty Miller. Ty Miller, I'm putting Ty Miller in the 100% won't lose tier because Ty Miller isn't that active, and if he fights, he's probably going to fight once more this year. And he looked really good against Adam Forget, and they're gonna feed him cans. I can guarantee you they are going to give him favorable matchups. Until next year, he's not going to face a matchup where I can be like, okay, this guy might actually beat Ty Miller. No, that's not happening this year. And I don't think Ty Miller even fights this year. He's undefeated. He's really good. His striking is really good. But obviously, he's definitely going to lose his O at some point. You can just see it. He's not that good. But I don't think it's gonna be this year. If he fights, which he probably won't, he's gonna get a layup matchup. So yeah, I think probably that's where I would put him. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Abdul Rahman Yakhyaev. Yakhyaev is also pretty much in the same boat as Ivo Baranowski. He's kind of in a weird situation. They could give him a crazy step up in competition, but more than likely, he has one fight left this year, and he's going to fight some absolute can. So I would say probably won't lose tier is pretty fair. I can't really put my finger on it, but I'm leaning towards more towards that he probably won't lose by the end of this year. He's finishing everyone. He looked really good in the last couple of his fights. Like nobody's been able to land like anything of significance on him. He's looked like a fucking beast. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair. And he also like knocked out who was that guy? Fuck, Julius Walker in like 8 seconds. So that's pretty cool. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Farman Hassanov. Farman Hassanov probably fights once more this year. He didn't look that good against Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan's takedown defense is not that good. And considering they gave this guy Eric Nolan in his debut, I think they're going to give him a pretty decent step up. And I would say he's probably going to lose this year. If he fights though, and I think he will fight this year once more at least, and I think Farman Hassanov will lose his undefeated record this year, but once again, I'm not sure about it. I wouldn't be 100% sure about it. I'm going to put him in probably will lose tier, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets like an easy layup fight, or like he just doesn't fight at all this year. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Giesla Chavez. I'm saying Giesla Chavez will lose this year. She went to a split decision with Eunice Dubin, which, to be honest, Eunice Dubin isn't that good, but she isn't that bad either. She's decent. Giesla Chavez did not look that good against Eunice Dubin. You can't be going to a split decision with Eunice Dubin. I think they're gonna give her a crazy step up, and she's going to probably lose by the end of the year. Giesla Chavez is scheduled to fight against Carly Judice. Carly Judice, if she can stop the takedowns of Giesla Chavez, she's knocking this bitch the fuck out. I don't think she beats Carly Judice. There's a way for her to beat her. That is by grapple fucking her, but I don't think that's happening. And I think Giesla Chavez will lose to Carly Judice. And even if she beats Carly Judice, I think she's probably got one more fight left this year after the Carly Judice fight, which she's probably going to lose. So I'm going to put her in the 100% will lose tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Shane Collins. I'm putting Shane Collins in the probably will lose tier because he didn't look that good against Otari Tanzilovi. He did 30-27 him, but that's because Otari wasn't able to do anything with his takedowns. His grappling is really not that good. His striking didn't look that much better than Otari either, and Otari is kind of a bum. I think Shane Collins probably loses by the end of this year. unless he doesn't fight or gets like a layup fight, he's probably going to lose by the end of this year, I would say. But once again, I wouldn't be too sure about it. Let's move on to the next fight on the tier list. We have Tommy Gannat, however you pronounce his name, Tommy Gant. Fuck, dude, Tommy Gant. I'm putting Tommy Gant in the probably won't lose tier because he's probably going to get a layup fight, and he is really good. He has very good grappling. His striking is decent, and I don't think they're going to give him any hard matchups. They're probably going to try to build him up, and I think he won't. I wouldn't put money on it. I wouldn't say I'm 100% sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Uh, Tommy Gant is probably going to stay undefeated by the end of this year. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Imanol Rodriguez. Imanol Rodriguez is probably gonna lose by the end of this year. Imanol Rodriguez is not that good. He has knockout power. His grappling is semi decent, but this guy got dropped by by the bald guy, Kevin Borjas. This guy got dropped by Kevin Borjas, bro. I can't. His striking defense is just not on point. I think he's going to get a good step up in competition, but if he doesn't, then he probably won't lose. But I think he's going to get a good step up in competition, which is why I put him in the probably will lose tier. He's undefeated, but he's really not that good. I wasn't really impressed by Imanol Rodriguez or whatever. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Nurullo Aliyev. Nurullo Aliyev, he fought once this year against fucking Abdul Karim Al Salvari or something. No, that was the name. He fought against some random guy. I don't really remember his name. But Nurullo Aliyev looked pretty good in that fight. But he is a bit of a decision merchant and he is very inactive. So he just isn't gonna fight this year. But Nurullo Aliyev, I think he does have a fight scheduled. And after that, he's probably not going to fight this year. That's why I put him in the probably won't lose tier, because he could lose his next fight. But more than likely he's going to win. I'm pretty sure he's going to win. So I'll put him in the probably won't lose tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Farid Bashrat. Farid Bashrat is going in the probably will lose tier. Now, he was supposed to fight Ethan Ewing. Ethan Ewing pulled out due to injury, which I literally made this tier list as I was just after I finished like working on this tier list. I'm like, I will put Farid Bashrat in this tier because of the Ethan Ewing fight and stuff like that. Ethan Ewing, I hear the news that Ethan Ewing pulled out just as I fucking finished. So it's whatever. Regardless, he's not that good. Regardless if he's fighting Ethan Ewing or not, he just isn't that good. He lost to Jean Matsumoto. I know it was split. I know he won that fight, but it was kind of a robbery. So, and Jean Matsumoto is not that good either. So I don't think Farid Bashrat's staying undefeated by the end of the year, but I wouldn't be 100% sure on it, so I'll put him in the probably will lose tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Baisangur Susurkayev. I'm putting Susurkayev in the probably won't lose tier. He either doesn't fight by the end of this year, which is very unlikely. I think he will fight by the end of this year at least once. But I think they're gonna give him an easy matchup. And even against Jordan Santos, he looked kind of mid. Like, he looked kind of stuck in the mud. He completely destroyed Eric McConaughey, but on all of his fights, he has struggled a little bit before he's gotten the finish and looked absolutely crazy while he's getting the finish. Like, he looks pretty good while he's getting the finish, but before that, he just looks a bit So there's a pretty decent chance that he actually loses, but I would still say he's probably not going to lose. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Navajo Sterling. I'm putting Navajo Sterling in the probably will lose tier because he just looked complete dog shit against Ion Cutelaba. If Ion Cutelaba did not fucking quit, Ion Cutelaba would have won that fight. Ion Cutelaba was fucking dog walking Navajo Sterling. Now, Navajo Sterling, the thing is, I would have put him in the 100% sure tier, but the thing is, there's a very high chance that they give him layup fights, and they give him like easy fights and stuff. But I think he will get a step up like Zhang Mingyang or something. And a guy like Zhang Mingyang probably beats the shit out of Navajo Sterling. now that if he gets a step up in competition now, where he is, if he fights somebody that's higher level than him, there's a very high likelihood that he loses. Very high. And yeah, but there is also a chance that he just ends up fighting cans for the rest of this year. So I'll put him in the probably will lose tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Marwan Rahiki. I'm putting Marwan Rahiki in the probably won't lose tier. I don't know if he has a fight scheduled or not. I think he does. No, I don't think he has a fight scheduled. He slimed out Ollie Schmid easily. He went to war with Harry Hardwick, which he was winning. But Marwan Rahiki, he's one of the prospects I'm actually interested in. I think he's very good. I would like to see his grappling get checked a little bit, but I would say Marwan Rahiki probably won't lose by the end of this year because they're going to either he doesn't fight. I think he will fight, but he's going to get an easy fight. So I don't think he's going to lose by the end of this year. I'm pretty confident in that, but I wouldn't say I'm 100% sure. So that's where Marwan Rahiki is going in the tier list. Next fighter, we have Josh Hockett. And Josh Hockett, this is the last fighter on the tier list. Now let me explain a little bit as to why Josh Hockett is here. Some of you might, because Josh Hockett, he's in the top 5. He's only going to get step-ups in competition. Let's look at the guys he could potentially face. Tom Aspinall, he's the champion. Fuck no, he's getting slimed out. Cyril Gane, he's getting slimed out. Alex Pereira, winnable fight, but still very hard. Probably won't win. Very slim chances of him winning. Alexander Volkov probably slimes him out too. Waldo Cortez Acosta, the closest fight there is he can have with somebody that is ranked above him. But I don't like that fight for, uh, you know, I don't like that fight for Josh Hockett either. All of these guys have a pretty good chance at beating him. If Josh Hockett was matched up with any of these guys, I would not pick him. Even against Waldo Cortez Acosta, because Waldo Cortez Acosta is pretty good. I understand he doesn't have as much speed, but the amount of openings there are in Josh Hockett, and Waldo Cortez has a chin on him. And also Sergey Pavlovich, I think that fight will probably happen. That fight is probably next. And I think Sergey Pavlovich is gonna knock Josh Hockett the fuck out. These are all the potential matchups there are, and the only one that I would feel slightly comfortable picking Josh Hockett in is against Waldo Cortez Acosta. Other than that, I don't think Josh Hockett beats any of these guys. But there is a chance that he doesn't fight any of these guys, or I wouldn't say he's like completely unable to win any of these fights. So I'll put him in the probably will lose tier, and that's the tier list. The tier list is a bit short this time because I don't have as much time to cover it. I'm kind of in a hurry. I'm kind of in the middle of something. So yeah, I'm kind of in a pickle. So yeah, the tier list is short. Also, there's going to be a second video that's going to be uploaded this day because I couldn't upload a video yesterday. So yesterday's video is also going to come out today. I have it ready and stuff. It was because I broke my toenail. I slammed my foot onto the fucking table. Pretty much there was wet floor. There was rag. It was wet below that, so the rag was wet. I slipped and I didn't fall, but my foot slipped forward and it hit the fucking table, and like it hit straight wood, like a straight plank of wood. Like imagine if my foot just slammed into the wall. That's pretty much what just happened. So my toenail is broken. There was bleeding from the toenail, from around the toenail. My toenail kind of turned purple, so it's broken. So that's why the video was kind of postponed. So that video will be coming out today as well. So this was supposed to be today's video, but yesterday's video is postponed to today as well. So yeah, be hyped for that. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.